All right, John H. Lilly, the Independence Patriots. John, first of all, go back to last week. You set the county record for wins. I know things like that at this point, when you're trying to play out a season, don't matter, but it's still quite an accomplishment.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think in a few more years, I can look back on all this kind of stuff and reflect, and with Linda, and we can reflect and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, my mind's on trying to figure out a way to beat Martins Ferry. They're a very good football team, and we struggled this week, trying to figure it out and get the game plan in. They do a lot of things that are good against us, and so we've had that. But yeah, I mean, Coach Van Meter, he's a legend in our county and in town, and and I fortunate enough I got to know him, before he got to die. I got to meet with him a couple times, so it's a special moment. And if I'll be honest with you, if I'm half the coach Coach Van Meter is or was, then I did a pretty good job.
When you look back at it, you've been in Raleigh County all these years. I think you started at Shady in '91. Did you ever think you're from Bluefield originally? Did you think you would stay in Raleigh County?
I didn't even know. I didn't even know I was going to be in Raleigh County. I was very, very fortunate. I went to North Carolina as a head coach first, and then come back. My wife's father-in-law he was the principal at middle school in Shady Springs, so we were fortunate. A job come open, and I applied for it. Nobody wanted it, so they hired the youngest coach in the state of West Virginia that year because nobody else wanted it. So at that time, it's a good job now, but at that time nobody wanted it, and I was dumb enough to take it, and hopefully we built that into something. It was better when we left than when we found it. Put it that way.
Well, you're playing Martins Ferry. You mentioned him already, but that's an Ohio team. This is the first time that you played an out-of-state team here or even on the road. After 50 years of football, that's kind of crazy. If you're a border school, it would never happen. But never played an out-of-state team before.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that till I saw it in an article that you wrote earlier today. But yeah, I look at it like it's kind of fun. It's a new challenge, and sometimes you get to play new people, and it challenges your kids mentally more than physically, and so we'll see how we rise to the challenge. But we've already talked about how it happened. We were in March, beginning of April, and we only had 7 games. So I mean, it's either play 7 games and roll the dice that can you get into playoffs 4-3? One of those type scenarios. But the kids deserve 10 games, and win, lose, or draw, and they deserve to play in front of their home folks. And hopefully, some of our local rivals will start playing us again. We won't keep our fingers crossed.
It's been 4 days now, but a big win, actually 5. Big win over Herbert Hoover. I think that's going to probably pay dividends the rest of the year. A lot of people probably didn't give you guys a chance of winning that game, but I mean, you guys really did everything you needed to do to pull that thing out.
Yeah, I kind of I think it was like Wednesday, I started getting the feeling that nobody thought we were going to win, but our kids felt like we were going to win, and there really wasn't any doubt in our locker room that we were going to win. I mean, they're a good football team, no doubt. They got good players, no doubt. But, we felt like we're a good football team, and we're worthy of going out there and playing successful. And I thought the kids, we made a lot of mistakes and still won. We had a 3-minute period where we gave up 21 points. 2 blown pass coverages and a fumble, 6 for touchdown. So, it's still kids' fault. That's the biggest thing. They fought the whole time.
Isaiah Conley, obviously, with a huge game on Friday night. But you mentioned after the game, you thought some of the other guys, including Landon Riddle, were doing things that really helped him get to those marks.
Yeah, I mean, Riddle allows us to, come off the edge or drop. He's that kind of linebacker, and I really thought our inside linebackers did really well. Atkins and Phelan, they had a superb game, and sometimes things don't show up in the stats,
right.
But just making sure that we line up right. And we were trying to throw a lot of different looks out there. And I'd say Phelan batted 100 out of 100, on how to get everybody lined up. So
that's rare.
Yeah, it is. It is for a first game, not getting caught out of position.
That's what I mean, opener.
Yeah, opening game, that's real rare. You're going to have some, screw ups in there, but I think we batted 100 as far as, that kind of stuff. Now, we made some other mistakes, but, they're a good football team. They got shot at AAA state championship, I think. So,
Is that fact that you can do that and throw a lot of looks at a team opening day a sign of a veteran defense like you've had in the past?
Yeah, I think so. We were able to do some things because they're an older team. We couldn't do that last year. I mean, this week we got a new challenge. It's their blood and gut, and they're going to run right at you, and they're going to test our manhood. And so we got a different challenge this week. So we go from a team that can spread you out and score any minute to a team that's going to pack you in the box and D1 tailback. So. It's a whole different challenge.
I finished it up with offense. Brock Green, really left off. He picked up where he left off last year.
Yeah, I thought Max and Brock had a good game. I thought they had it. We executed very well, especially early in the game. A lot of times in your
first quarter.
Yeah, usually first quarter, first game, you're trying to feel. Everybody's just trying to get the woolly worms out, and big crowd and everybody nervous. But Brock came out and executed as if it was fourth game of the year. So I hope he can keep it going. But I got full confidence that he will. And I thought Max did a good job on offense.
How did your offensive line grade out?
They graded out pretty good. I was real pleased with them. That's 3-3 and blitzing and moving around and doing those type things is real stressful on the line, especially if you're in 2x2 sets and that kind of stuff. So I thought that they handled it really well. I mean, we had a couple mess ups in there, but for first game, they were solid. They were solid B.
I think as the season goes on, Silas Nelson will have some great games. Your other receivers, but in an opener, KJ Byers, who was a freshman. Over 100 yards receiving. I don't know that you've had some great guys up here at that position. I don't know if any of them ever had 100 yards in their first varsity football game.
No, I don't think they have. They were bracketing Christian, so they weren't going to let Christian throw. So that definitely let them one-on-one. You don't know what a ninth grader is going to do until he gets out there. And not only is he 19, he's only 14. So he's got a lot of room to grow, but I think the ceiling's really high on him. He shot 6'3", so we feel real comfortable with 6'1", 6'3", 6'1" wide receivers. So we feel real comfortable with that.
Why are more freshmen able to play nowadays? You look around the state, everybody's got a freshman out there somewhere.
Well, West Virginia was really behind the times, and people forgot it wasn't that long ago that SSAC let us participate in summer stuff and let the coaches coach. Basketball coaches could do it for the last 20 years, mostly illegal, but the SSAC turned a blind eye and let them do whatever they want to do. All right, football coach touch a football, they want to try to suspend them for 20 games. So we finally got equal footing in there with the SSAC, and they let us go. And now look how many D1 football players we're getting out of state now because we're allowed to work with our own kids and, going 7-on-7s and camps and being able to coach our own kids. In the last 6 or 7 years, you're seeing a lot of freshmen step out and play because they get reps. They get to, we even took another step with a rule that was archaic because the year before Brock couldn't even practice with us till middle school was completed. All right, even though he didn't play baseball and he didn't play any spring sport, he wasn't allowed to go through spring ball with us. All right, even though he had already finished, so the SSAC had that rule. All right, well this year they get to come up and they get to go through spring ball with us as long as they're not playing another sport at their school. All right, but I mean these are the rules that sometimes just make you scratch your head. Like, are we in the business of helping kids, or are we in the business of trying to be right, or trying to control the situation? I think with Wayne there, I think you'll see a lot of loosening up. I think Wayne being an ex-coach and not an administrator per se, I think you'll see a lot of nonsense stuff go away. So I have a lot of confidence in Wayne Ryan, and I think him being a former coach and being in our shoes, he understands.
You're basically known as an old school coach. I think I know how you're going to answer this. Though, what's your opinion of the NIL?
I love the NIL.
That's what I thought.
I don't have a single problem with the NIL. The only people who have problems with it's guys who are 50 years and older. All right, and
That's me and you both.
yeah, I know, but I mean, the people that don't have, or people that are stuck in 1982. You know, here's the thing: they brought this on themselves. The NCAA brought it on themselves, and high school sports brought it on themselves. When a kid, I'll give you an example. If a kid from WVU, all right, is part of a football camp, and he's the main reason all those kids come, all right, so that school gets to make $1 million because he's there. All right, and you can't even buy him a hamburger, all right. But yet, if he wasn't there, half the people wouldn't come. You know, so do they need to have some? Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think there got to be some caps and there's got to be some regulations to it. All right, but to me, if all these guys that believe in free rights and free speech and free all this other stuff, well, they only believe in it when it's free for them. All right, but you take say for instance the quarterback from Princeton or our quarterback or a quarterback from Bluefield wants to have a quarterback camp, and kids want to come and pay him $50. All right, why should he not have the opportunity to get the $50? Why should I get the $50 because I'm the head coach? You know, so I'm all for it. I think the kids should get what they should get. I've always believed that.
Do you think, this might be my last one, do you think that it'll be implemented a lot? Because there are stipulations. You can't wear your own school's stuff. You can't set it up for them. There are a few stipulations in there. Do you think it'll be used a lot, or just like you said, for a football camp?
No, I think it'll be used a lot. We've already been dealing with it, and I can't tell you because, it's all new, so we want to make sure everybody's doing things the correct way. I do think the rules that we have in place with the SSAC is good. I mean, how the SSAC's handling it. You know, there are copyright rules on Independence High School. You can't sell independent high school gear, as an individual, make money off of it. We got businesses that have been doing that forever, and and even like with Westside with the W, or us with the logo with the Patriots, we have to make changes because those things are copyrighted. All right, but I do think how we're handling the NIL right now is fair. I think, the coach shouldn't, I don't think I should be out there setting this up for the player or talking to another player to come in for another school because we're going to do this. No, I don't think that's right. But I do think that if a kid wants to go out and have a football camp or a softball camp or something like that, and they get to keep the money, that's called free market. You know what I mean? If Jenna Joyce has a softball camp and all these little girls want to come up and pay her $25 to do a camp, why shouldn't she not keep the money?
Yeah,
and then on the flip side, Dave, let's be honest. They've been doing this for 60 or 70 years. Tennis players can make money. Golf can make money. All right, but team sports can't make money. I mean, that's not right. It never has been right. But it's a bunch of people. There's a lot of people out there, and there's some old school coaches out there too. All right, they think they have to control the situation. All right, well, no. I can control the situation as the AD of Independence High School, but what the kid does on his own time and what his parent does on his own time, that's the parents, that's their decision, not my decision.
John, I appreciate it, and congratulations on that record.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Appreciate it.